plumbing equipment on the exterior of a building should be flagged for design review.
Yeah.
Period. It's that simple.
Okay. All right, I am calling this Back Bay Architectural Commission Subcommittee public meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. You can participate in this meeting by going to our Zoom meeting link in our agenda posted online at https://www.boston.gov/public-notices/1657231 or by calling 646-828-7666 and entering ID number 160-053-8285. You can also submit written comments or questions to backbayac@boston.gov. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this hearing online. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Back Bay Architectural Commission, the public may access this call through telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use a platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which include landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside the Commission's purview. Okay. We have just one violation, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So 416 Marlborough Street, is there anyone here representing them?
Yes.
Hi, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Doug Anderson, with Mike Murray both of C3 Rimkus, and Fabio is the building manager for 416. Oops.
So before you start, I'm just going to do a little
it-
recap for
Caution.
everyone.
This email originated from outside of the Rimkus organization.
Hold on.
Do not click links or
Oh,
open
stop.
attachments unless you recognize the sender and know the content is caution. This
Oh, stop. Sorry.
Okay.
Sure.
Joe?
Sorry about that.
So this is for 416 Marlborough Street, the unapproved lattice wood enclosure and unapproved mechanical equipment. The wood enclosure was erected to screen equipment related to a generator. Neither of the installations were reviewed or approved by the Back Bay Architectural Commission. ISD issued a permit for the work in 2024. However, this permit was not flagged for review by the BBAC staff. At the December 10th, 2025 committee meeting, the committee voted to continue its review to the January 14th hearing to allow staff and Commissioner Robert Weintraub an opportunity to visit the property and see if there were potential areas where the equipment can be relocated to the interior of the building. Staff and Commissioner Weintraub visited the property on January 8th, 2026 with Fabio Martini, the property manager, and Michael Murray, senior project manager at Rimkus Engineering. The current building code requires that equipment be located outside of the building. At the January 14th, 2026 hearing, the committee voted to continue the review of the violation for 90 days so that the applicant could have a sufficient amount of time to research and propose approvable alternative solutions that included a variance to locate the equipment inside the building. The applicant applied for a permit with ISD to begin the variance process on February 27th, 2026. However, ISD abandoned the permit, which apparently prevents a variance request from moving forward. So I'm hoping that we can hear a little bit more about what that communication was between ISD and the management company and the engineers. If it is the case that it can't be relocated inside, staff recommends repositioning the equipment in the garden area by rotating it 90 degrees, moving it closer to the building, and screening it with vegetation. So this is the enclosure looking from the sidewalk on Marlborough Street. When we did go take a look, the building really is built all the way out to the alley, so there's no opportunity to relocate the equipment on the alley side of the building. It's currently located over in this area. Here's another view of where it's
So
installed today.
I'm not seeing, if you're sharing, I'm not seeing it.
Now, can everyone else see this?
Oh, you
Yeah,
can
I can
see.
see, I can see it.
I
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah,
Huh.
So this is the equipment
That's
itself inside the enclosure. And we did briefly, and Rob, I think if you remember, I think we were thinking an alternate location could potentially be turning it 90 degrees and kind of positioning it under this small window. So that's my recap. So I will turn it over to Doug, Michael, and to Fabio. And if do you want to share your own screen to present?
No, I'm just, this is Doug. I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of background and how I got involved. I run the code group here at Rimkus. We used to be owned by C3. We were sold. But my prior background was I was a plans examiner at ISD from 1995 to 2001. And certainly am very aware of all the, the BBAC requirements for the issuance of permits, both long forms, which is what I reviewed, and short forms, building permits that were under the commission's guise. I had a great relationship with William Young, who I believe is Joe's predecessor as the administrator. He was great. He was great to work with. What is typically not done is a BBAC review. The permit that was pulled for this particular project was an electrical permit or a trade permit. Those typically are not flagged for BBAC review, same as with a plumbing permit, for example. I'm glad to see at least some, the mechanical equipment that's being issued on a short form. Again, ISD historically has flagged short forms in the district for review by the commissioner, staff, or whomever. But again, as I said, my primary role is in code. I knew nothing of this project until Mike came down, I don't know, 6-8 weeks ago and asked about it when the commission issued the violation. And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. They needed commission approval for this installation. No question about it. And then per Joe's suggestion, I kind of managed the process of the attempt to get a electrical code refusal letter from ISD. I happened to be down there one day on another project, met with Michael, I think his name is Michael Dean, who is substitute or second in command of the electrical group down there, walked him through what was needed. He said, fine, file for the permit. I'll give it to the ward inspector. I forgot his name. Excuse me, Ward 5 electrical inspector, and we'll take care of it for you. So that's what the contractor Nardoni did. They filed for the permit, and at some point, ISD decided, you know what, we're not going to issue a refusal letter for this. We won't issue a refusal letter unless an installation is done incorrectly and we flag it. So, okay. So that's kind of where we are. That's kind of their way, and this is typical of the department. They basically don't want to get in the middle, so they choose to just step aside, and it's between 416 Marlborough and BBAC to resolve the issue. So, to Joe's point earlier, there's no setback on this building on the alley. There's no setback on this building on Mass Ave. There's no setback on the left-hand side because it abuts the townhouse next door. So the only place anything could possibly be located is on the Marlborough Street frontage. So that's the extent of my involvement. As I said, I'm just letting the commission members know that I'm advising on the process, and I've pretty much taken it almost as far as I can. At some point, we'll get an architect on board to figure out the screening and everything that the commission will approve. That's not what I do. Let someone else deal with that. But now, I guess, Mike, you want to speak to the
I got a quick question, Doug.
Yeah, sure.
Doug, were you applying for a permit to get this indoors?
Yes. Yes.
And they didn't want to.
The electrical
get
permit,
involved with a
that's
permit?
correct. The electrical permit said relocate the equipment inside the building. I should have made that clear, Mr. Sampson. That's correct. And the electrical code does require that this type of gear be installed outdoors. And so to move it inside the building would have been a violation of the electrical code. ISD would not issue a violation letter for this. So that's, we're caught between a rock and a hard place, basically. They wouldn't do it. So here we are. And I have no doubt that the electrical board, even if we had gotten that far, would have denied it anyway. So if nothing else, we saved about 6 or 8 weeks of schedule by dealing with this now, but dealing with the fact that it's got to stay outside, whether it gets relocated, moved, rescreened, whatever. That's Mike can speak to the electrical and other field challenges, such as other utilities coming into the building, limiting where this equipment can go, kind of thing. So, and to be fair, Mike didn't know about the commission either. So, because he's an electrical engineer. He's not, I know how the city works to some degree. Mike is not necessarily, he wouldn't have any reason to know that kind of thing. So Mike, you and I talked at length about what could or couldn't be done.
Yeah. So just a little follow up on Doug's. When the electrician went down to pull this permit, they of course took it. But then when he said, when we talked to him about killing, they say that once the installation's done, then they'll disapprove it. So, that's sort of counterintuitive, but they wouldn't disapprove it or reject it, like usual. They say you got to do the installation. Electricians shouldn't be doing something that's not the code, that kind of stuff they were saying. But
backwards from, say, a building code violation where we can't go to the appeals board prior to the work actually being done. Same with the accessibility regulations. We can go to that board prior to anything being done. Such is not the case with the electrical folks, apparently.
And as per the electrical contractor, he asked the electrical inspector when he was pulling the original permit, does he need a building permit? And the electrical inspector told him no. So that's where we are with that.
Which is why it didn't get flagged for commission.
Yeah. But if, these switches are in the 2023 code, they sort of made these switches, they changed it to make these switches have to be outside. They don't want them going through windows or through a building to get to the connections to put a temporary or do any kind of testing on these generators. So this is a 2023 code change that was that prohibit these from being inside and made them have to be outside.
All right, so it looks like we're stuck with them outside.
Yeah. So Michael and I met in January. Joe's suggestion to move these so that the back is against the brownstone and lower them to be below the banding is what we had come up with for a solution, knowing that ISD would more than likely not approve a variance. One thing we discussed is that this equipment is sitting on like an 8 or 10 inch concrete slab. That slab can be reduced, and then the switch gear is also sitting on 18-inch snow stands. As you can see, that part that juts out from the bottom, those also can be severely reduced and moved so that the equipment can just be turned 90 degrees and lowered so that it would fit below the brownstone band. And then it should be screened with arborvitaes or some other long, or tall plant to cover all the equipment. Part of my motion would be to work, you'd have to work with the garden club at the back bay to come up with suitable screening plant materials.
And Robert, to screen it, would it be a fence like this with?
No, lattice fence. It's too obtrusive. It's pretty egregious, actually. So
yeah, okay.
I mean, in some cases, lattice is appropriate, but in this case, it's not. You can easily screen this with, tall plants, something like an arborvitae. That's just the one that comes to mind. I'm sure that Lori Thomas, who's on this call, will have some suggestions, but Joe and I measured it. It is feasible to move this equipment to go below that small window that you see behind it, and to lower it so that it fits below the banding of the brownstone, or just about at the same elevation as the brownstone banding, just below that window.
So
And
when
that can be
you do,
accomplished by lowering the snow stand and reducing the slab.
yep. So when the screening goes on it, the screening will be back, so we still maintain the required code clearances
Yes.
in
Yes.
front. Okay, so be out, say 42 inches, 4 feet, something like that. Okay.
Something, whatever the code requires, as
Yeah.
long as it's properly screened.
Okay.
One suggestion that we had was creating another utility vault. I know that you have two others there for National Grid or Eversource.
Yeah.
That's just not, financially, it's certainly not feasible, but, ultimately a utility vault would be the best method, but I'm not sure you'd get a permit for that because it abuts two other utility vaults.
Yeah, and the other thing is that area has gas and water service coming in right
Right.
alongside or underneath that area, so it's tight. It's a tight
So
area.
my motion will probably be to continue this so that you engage an architect to come back with drawings showing the elevation of the equipment being turned and having its back towards the building itself, and then working with the garden club to screen this equipment appropriately with the necessary clearances.
Second.
Oh, I didn't
Oh, we're not making a motion.
I know.
I didn't say my motion, but the motion will be similar to that.
It was said perfectly, so I just had to put it
So
in stone.
any further comments? Maybe give 60 more days to come back to the.
Robert, can I make a minor correction to what you just said? ISD would not issue the variance. We would have to have filed with the State Board of Electricians and whatever else the name of that.
Okay, we're not looking.
group is. Right, but we couldn't file with the state until we got that letter that we never got.
And Doug, it's nice to see you. When you were at ISD, you were great to work with.
Well, thank you.
I
wish I could say I remember you.
Yeah, but I remember you because
Okay, good.
the other planning examiners that are there now it tends to be a little bit more difficult. And
Yeah, I know. I work with John Gorman all the time, so we talk.
I'm being very nice. So, no, I think we will just give you an extension so that you can engage the necessary design professionals to render this, show the dimensionality, and come up with a planting plan so that it can be properly screened.
Mhm.
If you're in agreement with that, I'm ready to put forth a motion.
So you're suggesting no physical fence, just use the plants
Yes.
for, and the arborvitaes, you can buy them, I don't know, 6 feet tall.
I'm not saying that arborvitaes are the appropriate
But
plant.
whatever
Yeah.
So-
So I'm saying the Lori Thomas will speak, or hopefully speak, or somebody from the garden club will speak with what they feel is the appropriate plant material to properly screen this equipment.
Okay, so it sounds like we almost need a landscape architect and not a regular, like a building architect.
That's up to you, whatever design professional. I think an architect would be appropriate, but that's
All right, we'll talk offline.
And one question we didn't discuss: could the equipment be painted the brownstone color, or is that not possible?
I don't see any reason it couldn't.
No.
Okay, I think that would help too.
Mike, it's
Yep.
HC 69, Ben Moore.
Yep. But you'd have to get the metallic version of it,
Yeah.
right?
What finish is typical? Is it flat, semi-gloss, gloss,
It would be flat.
flat? Okay. Or pearl? What's the one in between, eggshell, pearl, whatever it's called?
Okay, great. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which include landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside of the Commission's purview. Okay, and I think Sergey raised his hand first.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioner and Joe. Serge Savard, the chairman for the Neighborhood Association and co-chair of the Architecture Committee. I'm curious regarding the process that will be done to review and approve this change now. Because will we have basically a design review, and will the new plans be posted in advance? Because we don't really have a chance to review the plans if the plans are only posted at the violation the same day that the meeting happens. So I think it would probably be a good idea to that the plans get also posted of what will be proposed, so we can have a chance to review them, go on site, compare, and comment on this, because I think it's going to be still not a simple change in that case. So I think it would be good that we have a more complete design review on this proposal. Thank you.
Okay,
I'll
thanks.
just comment on that's,
we're-
you know, it's remanded to the violations committee, so it will not go to the full design review for the full commission review. You know, we can ask to have a proposal, hopefully, you know, within, you know, by that Friday before the hearing, and that way I can post that online to give people a chance.
That will be
vote.
that will be totally fine.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Joe.
Appreciate it.
I think Lori Thomas was next.
Yes, hi, Lori Thomas, co-chair of the Tree Committee for the Garden Club. We'd be happy to review your design, and if you need any recommendations for landscapers and so on, let us know, but it sounds like you have someone you're working with. My one piece of advice to you is, if they are not familiar with working in Back Bay, we have rabbits, and rabbits will eat arborvitae. They'll eat practically anything. They'll eat trees. So make sure that you either have a plan to fence it, or you choose something that's rabbit proof, but we'll be happy to work with you, and Joe can put you in touch with us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lori. I believe Andrew Weissman is next.
Hi, yes, it's actually Jody Wiseman. I'm on Andrew Wiseman's equipment, but I live in the building, and I actually live in the bay window that looks right at this equipment. And you know, I'm not going to go back and say I was shocked when I saw it, but I was shocked when I saw it. We're new homeowners here. We've invested a lot in our apartment, and I was happy to hear that you say you can lower the equipment to the whatever that level is, because if you turn it and try to make it closer to the building, my bay window will be looking right at that piece of equipment. I know you're all concerned about how it looks from the street, but I will be looking at this piece of equipment if you make it turn it 90 degrees. And I don't hear anybody worried about my light coming into my window or the visual ugliness of this piece of equipment. So I would really appreciate if you make sure it doesn't impact my window view, and that I'm not looking at ugly equipment, because that's not what I purchased when I came here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the next one is Sue.
Thank you. Sue Prindle from the Neighborhood Association Architecture Committee. I was very pleased to hear Joe talk about paint. I think that probably will help a lot. Certainly it needs to be down below the adjacent windows, as you understand. I do think that probably the flat paint is a better pick than something shiny, which will tend to show off. And I'm concerned about the precedent. Is this going to happen again? Is there a way we can say this is the only way we can do this because of the limitations of the
So it's only for high-rise buildings over 70 feet. So that's the majority of buildings in Back Bay fall.
We capped them at 65, but we have a lot of ones higher than that. So
No, I know, but it's not exactly 70 if they take the average. So most brownstones fall.
might be good to
Yeah.
put something in the motion when we get to the point of a motion. Thank you.
Okay, and then is that I'm not sure how to say your name, Bray?
Hello. Hi, it's Brett. Hi, I own a unit in the Marlborough. Just one observation: if the equipment's turned 90 degrees, you still have to be able to open those cabinets. So then the landscaping is going to have to be backed away the depth of the doors opening. So it would seem that you want to maybe leave the units as they are, but then put plantings right up against them.
That's the idea.
Okay, I don't see anyone else with their hand raised. Do you want to move back to the motion?
All right, my motion is sevenfold. Tom's going to love this one. To continue the violation 60 days to give the applicant an appropriate amount of time to come up with a design that will be amenable to the commission. To turn the equipment 90 degrees and lower it to be under the brownstone band of that small window. If it's under that band, it will not interfere with any windows on that facade. To paint the equipment a HC69 or an equivalent color to match the existing brownstone, to lower the equipment so there's below the brownstone banding, and work with the garden club of the Back Bay with appropriate screening materials. And by no means does this present a precedent for future installations of similar equipment, and all other details to staff.
I'm already done speaking. I can go in the other room when you need to sure this goes on.
Okay.
And Rob, was that 90 days or 60 days?
60.
60? Okay.
60 should be enough.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
and David Sampson.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for working with us. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Appreciate the input from everybody. Onward.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
All right. We're just going to take a
Great.
little pause, and then we'll, in a few minutes, once we have a quorum of commissioners, we'll resume with design review.
Oh, we're just a minute away.
Yeah. That went fast.
Yeah.
Oh. They say at the theater will be a pause, not an intermission.
It's going to be interesting if they need to put something like this at Haddon Hall. Because it's a similar kind of a situation where there really isn't much flexibility.
I mean, they must have it. You mean 29 Ave?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay, hi, I'm Jean Dimitriadis, and I'm calling this Back Bay Architectural Commission public hearing to order at 5 p.m. on April 8th, 2026. You can participate in this hearing by going to our Zoom meeting link and our agenda posted online at https://www.boston.gov/public-notices/16572-301, or by calling 646-828-7666 and entering ID number 1600538285. You can also submit written comments or questions to backbay@boston.gov. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this hearing online. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Back Bay Architectural Commission, the public may access this call through telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use a platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your staff to comment your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should focus on our project's exterior architectural features, which include landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside the Commission's purview. Okay, and I think we're moving to ratifying the minutes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, do I have a motion to ratify the March 11, 2026 minutes?
Move approval.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Great.
All right, Gina Dimitriadis.
I'll abstain since I wasn't there.
Okay. Tom High,
Yes.
David Sampson,
Yes.
Tom B. Nair,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
and Lisa Tharp.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
And I think Kathy just joined. Am I correct?
Let's see here.
Thought I saw her come in.
Oh, here she is.
All right, so I can turn it over to her for the first project if you want.
Sure. Hi, Kathy.
Kathy, you there? Okay.
There she is.
So sorry, everybody. We had a late client and I had to run. I apologize for my tardiness. But here I am. Okay, and thank you, Gina, for turning it over to me.
No worries.
We're going to head to our first project, which is 157 Newbury Street, application 26.0546. Is there someone here for 157 Newbury Street, please?
Yes, John Day from Blue Hour Design.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. We're going to turn it back to Joe, and he's going to give the overview on the staff notes, and then it'll come back to you.
And John, is there anyone else that will be presenting with you?
No, all good.
Okay, good. Staff notes that 157 Newbury Street is a 4-story brick row house built circa 1888 and converted to commercial use in the mid-20th century. The existing penthouse addition was approved by the Commission in 2004. At the March 11th, 2026 hearing, the Commission voted to continue its review of this application and requested that the applicant consider the use of 3-part sliding doors as opposed to 2-part sliding doors. Staff recommends approval, finding that this is an alteration to a later addition and it's not visible from the ground. So I can move forward, John, or do you want to share your own screen?
Whichever you prefer. I can certainly share. I have it ready if that's easier for you. I think we have the comparison one as well. You have that.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
great.
why
Okay,
don't I keep
yeah.
going, and then if there's something
Sure.
I can always stop sharing.
Yes, that might be most efficient. Thanks.
Is this the view you want to start on, John?
Yeah, and it's just I'll do a very light, quick recap. I believe Joe's summary, and it was only a month ago, so we haven't been gone too long. 157 is the subject property. Our client owns the top floor. It has a high parapet brick wall. So with the large building here in the commercial district, it has no visibility from the public way. From any of the roads below that we can see, given its oblique angles. So we can click forward. That wasn't a big topic point last time. Here you can see our building in the center, above Capitol Burger there, and the large parapet wall, which obscures the penthouse. That what you see above, besides the chimneys, is the commercial building to the right. This is our previous application. There's a large run of vinyl and degraded patio doors at the top that all swing. They have screens that have torn off and caught in the wind. They weren't high end to start, and they're not operating all that well. Our request to the right there was to add sliding doors. This is our updated version. We had a 2-pair situation before, given wanting to make the openings larger. So you have one large slider. We've amended them here. Sliders are easier for the screens. The cats don't open them, and they don't swing open in the wind. They have been blowing open and tearing off. And so the question was whether our openings were any wider. They are not. We cannot make our openings there due to structure wider. They're the same, with the exception of the door on the left. It becomes a double. That one we can, and we're replacing and moving a big picture window on the right a little bit closer. We added an upper mutton pattern at the suggestion of the committee at our some committee members at our last conversation, and we've shown them as triples.
This is one, because of the way sliders work and the depth of our walls. They're not triple sliders where two slide over and stack behind one. We can't fit that in the wall depth there with the existing conditions. So we have one center slider on each condition that moves left and right, and one screen. So the doors stay a bit narrow. So that was our hesitation previously, but we've drawn it here, and the condition works and is meets the comments that were given there. And that's on the right. That's on the right.
And let me say, I think it looks a lot better. I mean, it's a very good improvement.
And there's the render update. And in the left, if you weren't present last time or don't recall, are the existing condition sliders with the Velcroed screens, because those stay in place. But these will be wood sliders painted with a sliding screen.
Great.
There's our neighborhood visibility. And then just again, a little bit more from the other angles you saw. That was the daylight and what the building got before, and there's what that porch gets now. And this is, Joe had suggested that we perhaps add, if there were any questions for clarity, the comparison presentation. So March last month to April now. On the left, what was previously proposed, and on the right, the amended version.
Well, great job.
Great job.
Yeah.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you may press *9 to raise your hand, or you may send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which include landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside of the commission's purview. And Serge, I see that you have a question.
Yeah, and yes, thank you, Commissioner, and good evening. Serge Savard, co-chair of the Architecture Committee for the Neighborhood Association of the Back Bay. We find that this proposal is a great improvement, and we do like the windows and the mountain that were added. I think it's a nice element that was added. I do have a question regarding cladding. When there was discussion last month, there was a proposal to reclad, but now the window configuration is not changing really. It's almost using the same opening. So I would like just to know if there is a plan to reclad, or the cladding will remain the same as it is today. Thank you.
Do have a few areas with the window, the double door to the left, though that's an expansion, so material will be moved away. There is a window to the right that was reviewed to be realigned with the kitchen. And so there'll probably have to be some cladding and infill there. Ideally, they reuse the material, but I can't speak to what condition it's in. There is a potential, if there's damage or it needs to be patched, that new copper would have to be put up. I think they can inspect that early. Our goal would be, if that's the case, that it gets left out and weathered previously and then put up rather than rolled right out of the box. But there is a chance, of course, that we have to repair some. Can't say what's underneath some of the trim there. I don't know that this was these patio doors were installed in a manner that was thoughtful to the copper behind it. So we are hoping not to for budget as well, but there is a possibility that with relocation of a window, we might have to do a couple of full seam panels. It's a standing seam copper.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It will age. Again, it has zero visibility from the public way, so it will age quietly on its own. If you're invited up there, you'd see it. But I think that's, we'd like it to form in copper.
Yeah, and I'm sure your client will want to have it match as closely as possible. So.
For sure. It hasn't gone
Yes.
green, so we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait that long.
So, Joe, I don't see any other hands raised. Do you? Okay. All right. So shall we go back to the motion, please?
My motion is for approval as submitted.
Second.
Okay. Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Tom High,
Yes.
David Sampson,
Yes.
Tomby Nayer,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub,
Yes.
and Lisa Tharp.
Yes.
Great. Great. Thank you, John.
Great. Thank you, John. Very nice job.
Appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Great.
Have a good night.
Okay. We're moving on to project number 2, application 26.0764. That's 124 Beacon Street. Is there someone here from 124 Beacon Street, please, with the project?
Yes, I'm here, Jahan Mohebali, the owner.
Wonderful. Jahan, thank you. If you could hang on a minute, Joe will go through the staff notes and then bring it back to you.
Okay. This work is to modify at the roof previously approved skylights and extend the height of an existing chimney. Staff notes that 124 Beacon Street is a 5-story stone row house built between 1859 to 1860. The upper level of the rear elevation is a later addition. In March 2025, the Commission approved changes to the windows and roof configuration at the 9th and 10th story of the rear of the building. This past March, the Commission approved alterations to the headhouse and installing a deck. Staff recommends approval, finding that the skylights are not visible from Back Street and minimally visible from locations across from Sturo Drive, and that the extension of the chimney will not likely have an impact on the overall appearance of the building. So, John, do you want to share your own screen, or?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. All right, it's all yours.
Thank you.
And welcome back.
Thanks. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Well, thank you, everyone. Hopefully this is the final time that I'll need to be here. I know this has been an ongoing saga. Just to remind everybody, this is the design that was approved, including the final version of the head house, which we will be reviewing with Joe separately. But I just want to focus on these 3 skylights here, and then also this is a parapet wall, but it actually has a chimney in it as well in the party wall that sits between 124 and 122. And the major impetus for modifying the skylights was the suggestion of multiple members of NAB and also the commission to try to incorporate some sort of operational skylight function into this roof. And so this is the design that we came up with, and this is back solving basically from a standard operational Velux skylight for cost reasons. It's very prohibitively expensive to try and manufacture a custom large operational skylight. And so the idea was to put these at the highest point on the roof here, and then back solve from that to a fixed skylight below, below. And then for the purposes of our design, there's a mezzanine that sits under this roof, and there's an opening in the mezzanine here, and it looks much nicer for design reasons to be able to put in a slightly larger and more square skylight here in the center. This is the overhead view showing the 2 operational skylights sitting here. And this also, breaks these side skylights up a bit. This is the side elevation here. You can see now there's a joint between the operational and the fixed. And then the other thing that I'd like to discuss, so again, just want to emphasize that the skylights are not at all visible from Back Street or from the Esplanade, given the pitch of the roof and the height. With regard to the chimney, this is what we're proposing. We need to be able to extend this chimney up about 2.5 feet for code purposes, because this roof has been raised up about 2.5 feet. And this was not brought to my attention until recently by our contractor. Interestingly enough, when I originally set about documenting the original conditions of this property, which is now about 3 years ago, there were chimney pot extenders on this chimney. However, the way it looks today is like this. There's a cap that's been put on it. And in talking to In talking to 122, it sounds like what happened is I don't know, at some point within the past few years, there was a leak. And so those chimney pot extenders were removed and a cap was placed. What that did is it basically dropped the height of the chimney, the egress point of the smoke, essentially the height of the chimney pot extenders. So I think what we need to do is just raise it back up to that height. And I'd be happy to do it by extending the masonry in kind up higher or replacing it with the chimney pot extenders again, whatever the commission recommends. You can see the other chimney. This is 122 here. The other chimney is here. And basically the extenders that appeared like this were over here. And in terms of what this would look as a mock-up, well, again, these pictures are about 3 years old. And you can see here's the cap as it sits today. I'm sorry, these are current pictures. Here's the cap as it sits today. If I go back to the original photos that I took, you can see that there were chimney pot extenders up here at one point.
It would be possible, I think, to use ceramic chimney pot extenders. That's what we have, and we had them replaced not long ago by a mason.
Sure.
And that's much more, probably more traditional and less intrusive than extending it with masonry.
Okay.
But you know, it looks to me, I can't tell whether those are metal or whether they're ceramic.
I think they may be cast iron or something to that effect. Yeah.
Something of that nature would probably be the most, from a historical standpoint, most accurate.
Okay.
But I think this is something where we could, ask Joe to review the final plans, because the masonry, if you end up having to use masonry, it's going to need to match very closely.
Yes.
If you end up using chimney pots, they should be similar to these and not metal, shiny extenders, which seem to be cropping up all over the neighborhood, and are not really appropriate at all.
Okay.
I don't know how the rest of the commission feels about that, but to me, as far as the skylights are concerned, I'd like to see the central one a little smaller, but I think, as Joe points out, this is not visible. So they look fine to me. I'm ready to make a motion.
Johan, are those chimneys in use?
I'm sorry?
Those chimneys in use?
There are 1 or 2 units, I believe, that still use the chimneys. I have occasionally seen smoke coming out of one of the flues.
Okay.
I wondered if any of the other commissioners had any concern about the skylights. They seem awkwardly proportioned between the three.
I'm a little curious about, can we go to the skylight photo?
Sure.
Are there 5 skylights?
There are, because our original design was the 3. And then in order to make it operational, we broke up the lateral skylights into operational and then a fixed. And then we were hoping to maintain a slightly larger fixed in the center.
Yeah, I think if we can't see them at all, then I guess it's really preference to the owner. But I was curious about, it looked like there was 5 and I was right. 2 operational and 3 fixed.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's very much designed to sort of line up with the way the mezzanine sits on the level right below this roof, both in terms of allowing for head height and also to fit with the shape of the mezzanine and the design on the interior. So this would very much be my preference, if that's okay.
Will neighbors be able to see these?
No, especially with so the only place where this roof is visible would be from this roof deck, and actually this roof deck sits nearly 6 feet below the top of this parapet wall. And by the time we have the guardrail here for the roof deck, and by the time these chimney pot extenders are here, none of those skylights will be visible from anywhere except for the roof deck of my own building.
Did you consider, thank you, did you consider just having 3 equal pairs, working, non-working?
3 equal pairs. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand.
The left and the right repeated in the middle, essentially.
We did, but again, based on, the fact that the center of the mezzanine is open to below, like an atrium, the interior design looking up, it's much more aesthetically pleasing to have this larger sort of central skylight.
And is that atrium sharing any light with the head house?
It is not, no.
Okay. I don't know, it just looks awkward to me. And I think you're getting a lot of light regardless, but if I'm in the minority, I can move on.
Who's going to make a motion? Did someone say?
I'm ready to
I
make
actually
a
have one
motion.
question for John, if I may. As far as the skylights, once again, you had mentioned it was a preferred version that you have on the right there with the 2 functional
Yes.
and then the fixed, and then
Yes.
the fixed in the center. Is there a reason that you decided not to put a functional in the center to balance it? I think that's what, Lisa, you were suggesting that. Is that, am I incorrect in?
Yeah, I think I'm having 2 issues. One, to have different sizes and shapes all aligned feels a bit haphazard. And then, yeah, just more uniformity, I think, would feel more in keeping with the spirit of the structure.
So the question, John, is why is the center one just one big pane that's fixed as opposed to having a functional and a pane?
Again, I think our thought was that we're just trying to get a little bit of operational function here, and again, aesthetically, I'm not sure how to describe it without having pictures of what the mezzanine looks like, but the shape in the center is very much proportional to one large square, and so that's how our preference had been to design it, and then furthermore, that to get a fixed skylight, or excuse me, an operational skylight that would span this entire length. There's not one that exists stock in terms of what we were able to find, and so it would require, if I wanted an operational skylight that was the width of this fixed central skylight, that would require a custom option. So again, we've been trying to avoid having to build a custom operational skylight and be able to work with a standard Velux skylight.
I do understand that. Maybe I'm not being clear. What I was just thinking was, if you look, you're in the center, you look to your right, you look to your left, what is keeping you from doing the exact same thing in the center?
Kathy, let me just interrupt you for a second. Joe, as
Yeah.
I indicated, I got to go at 5:30. Do you have a quorum?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
Am I making myself clear, John?
So,
Is it just
so if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're asking is why not put another operational skylight in the center here?
Yes. And are you saying the aesthetic from the inside looking up
Yes.
is
Correct.
what you prefer? Okay, I just want to thank you. Just wanted to clarify. Right.
Yes. So again, to have an operational skylight that spans the width of this skylight, one does not exist. That is a stock skylight. It would have to be a custom operational skylight, and I am trying to avoid, having to do that.
Understood.
I think my issue is wondering if it couldn't have 3 same size skylights as before, only now you have operational capability on all 3, so that it doesn't feel sort of haphazard.
Okay. I understand exactly what's being said. I guess you know, the thought was that from our perspective, from a design standpoint, looking up through the mezzanine from the living room to the roof, this was the most aesthetic design. And the fact that this is not at all visible from the street, from adjacent buildings, this was our preference.
John, could you move to the next slide? Because I think this slide is deceptive because you're seeing so much more of what you actually would see if you were from the ground because of the pitch of that roof. So yeah, I mean, I think this one, I mean, well, you know, what you just had, I mean, that shows
what I
the
just had,
pitch.
okay.
Yeah.
It just seems like an oddball configuration, and it's being driven by an interior space rather than, you know, an exterior space. And I know that this isn't visible, but
Well, it's still spaced. I mean, I think they're still spaced. I don't think there are odd dimensions here, you know, where it's moved over to one side more than the other.
It's balanced.
Yes, yes.
And you know, I agree with Lisa that it would look better the way it was proposed originally, quite frankly, the three on the left. But it's a tension between, you know, the interior, which we can't consider, and the exterior. And I mean, it's a big sheet of glass. I don't know whether it would be helpful if you kept that size, since that's what you're concerned about, and had it broken with muntins or something that would make it less like a big sheet of glass. Would that help at all, Lisa, do you think?
me, no, I think I'm responding to this in one small area. You've got a lot of different revisions going on in the building, and they've all kind of calmed down over your many rounds of design. And I appreciate you taking, you know, efforts to meet each of our requests. And I think this just, I see it's balanced, but it just doesn't feel like an appropriate use of multiple different kinds of designs all in one small space. I would have expected just 3 sets of the operational and the fixed, all consistent across that one plane, because you do have a lot of glass going on the headhouse and the conservatory skylight above the headhouse. There's a lot of glass here, and so, you know, picture frame, picture light windows, picture window type glass is not really consistent with the nature of the neighborhood. But I'm okay being in the minority if everyone else feels comfortable, given that it's out of sight. It just didn't feel uniformly designed.
Great. So any other comments from commissioners? We have a motion on the table, correct? A motion proposed.
I'll be prepared, yeah.
Great, thank you. Shall we go to public comment?
Yeah, I'll just, if you could stop sharing your screen and I'll bring up the script. Great. Can you see that, Kathy?
I can, thank you. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you may press *9 to raise your hand, or you may send your questions to staff via email at backbayac@boston.gov. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person and should be focused on a project's exterior architectural features, which includes landscaping. Issues related to use, street traffic, and noise are outside of the commission's purview. And Serge, I see your hand again.
Yes, good evening again. 3 little comment. Number 1, regarding the skylight, we feel our committee feel that the idea of actually splitting the skylight in 2 is actually pretty good, because by putting the one that is operational in the up portion, when it's going to be open, it will still not be visible from back street. If the whole skylight would open, it may actually become visible from back street while it's in open position. So we think that's about a good solution. The second thing is regarding the skyline configuration and the larger one in the middle. Our committee had the same kind of a non-consensus, let's call it this way, on this configuration. So we think that whatever the commission decide is appropriate. Regarding the chimneys, if the chimneys is replaced by a pot, one thing that the commission may be keep in mind that we maybe get into a situation, because it was mentioned that this top was actually put because of water. We may have to have additional equipment on top of the chimney pot, a little bit similar to what 131 Ave had maybe a year ago, if the commission recalls. So in that case, this additional equipment that would be on the chimney pot should be painted black, like the commission asked last time. Thank you.
Thank you, Serge. I don't see any other hands. Do you, Joe?
No, I'm just in no other emails.
Emails or anything? Okay, great. So let's go back to the motion, please.
Can I ask just one question of the applicant? At the present time, are there any skylights in that area?
We have curbs in place. But the final roof plan is pending approval.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'm ready to make a motion. Motion that the application be approved with the provisos that the skylights are not visible from the ground and are not a precedent for other installations and applications, and that the final design of the materials of the chimney extensions are to be design and materials of the chimney extensions are to be approved by staff.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Tom Hyde,
Yes.
David Sampson,
Yes.
Tom Nair,
Yes.
and Lisa Tharp.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, John. So we'll stay in touch.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the administrative review approval, please?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Kathy Connor,
Yes.
Gina Dimitriadis,
Yes.
Tom Hyde,
Yes.
David Sampson,
Yes.
Tom Nair,
Yes.
Rob Weintraub.
Rob's left.
He's gone. That's right. And Lisa Tharp.
Yes.
Great.
And do you have any staff updates, Joe?
I do. We have a commissioner who has stepped off the commission. Franklin Ross has moved out of the city of Boston, so he stepped down from the commission. So he was great to work with, and his perspective was really welcome. So we appreciate his work, and sorry to see him go.
Thank you for that update, Joe. And do we have a motion? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Great.
All right.
Thank you all very much for coming tonight. Appreciate it. And once again, my apologies for being late with my client. So take care.
You're forgiven.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.